We start in the National League West, and we start with Arizona. Pretty good offense. Rubio Durazo and Luis Gonzalez occupying the 3-4 spots in the middle. A couple problems in the back. You never want to see a 56 overall starting in your lineup, but the top half of this lineup should give opposing pitchers a lot of trouble. On the pitching side of things, Randy Johnson and Curt Schilling a really nice 1-2. Swindell is a good number one reliever coming out of the pen, and Manti is an above-average closer. Overall, a lot of things to be positive about this Arizona team. Colorado comes in with a traditionally strong offense. Todd Helton's one of the best bats in the game at a 95 overall. He's surrounded by good bats like Jeffrey Hammonds, Jeff Cirillo, and Larry Walker. Even the back of the lineup isn't too bad. They're 70s almost throughout the back end. Pitching is a problem. The 2-3 are just nightmares. Their ace is probably a 3 in a lot of other clubs. They do have a great bullpen in Gabe White and Jose Jimenez, but there's only so much they can do. The Dodgers offense is about average. Gary Sheffield's is an elite bat. They're going to have to hope he has a big year. The other pieces aren't terrible, but the back end of the order with Cora and Grudzielanek, they're going to get no production there, so they really need the top half to perform. Luckily for them, though, they do have one of the best 1-2 punchers with Kevin Brown and Chan-Ho Park as their starters. The bullpen isn't too bad. Mike Fetters is a nice piece coming out, and even Terry Adams is a serviceable piece coming out of the pen, so this team will go as far as the pitching. San Diego ranks in the bottom third in the National League for offense. You can see why here. Klesko and Nevin, not a terrible 3-4, but they're a little underqualified for their positions in the lineup. The back end of that lineup is trash. San Diego is going to struggle to score runs. The pitching is a little bit better. Woody Williams and Adam Eaton rank in the mid-70s there, so they're okay for starters. It's another team from the West with two good guys in the pen in Kevin Walker and Trevor Hoffman, but overall this team might struggle to be competitive. And that leaves the division favorite and potentially the pennant favorite San Francisco Giants. Kent, Bonds, and Burks is one of the best offensive trios you're going to see. The rest of the lineup is not too bad, so those three plus an average or so lineup is going to get the job done, certainly. On the bump, Livan Hernandez, pretty good ace. Estes and Reuter are complementary pieces there, and they can always turn to the league's best closer, Rob Nen, to finish up any messes, so San Francisco, really dangerous team. We move over to the NL Central. The Cubbies are first up. The Cubs have Sammy Sosa and not too much else. The back of the order is atrocious. The top of the order outside of Sosa is about average, but overall slightly above average offensively. The pitching is a little bit brighter. They are ranked third in the National League with a pretty strong front two with Tavares and Lieber. Again, they have a nice double barrel action with Heredia and Gordon. They're going to be pitching heavy, but they should be a pretty good team. Cincinnati, one of the more offensive-oriented teams in the National League Central. Really nice top four, even down to a top 6 or 7. They're deep. They have the big bat with Ken Griffey in the middle. They'll be able to put up a lot of runs. On the pitching side of things, it's not quite as clear who their studs are going to be here. They have a lot of people who could contribute. No great guys, no terrible guys. Somewhere in the middle, the offensively minded team, hoping to outscore some people. And on the other side of the spectrum, the Milwaukee Brewers. Where to start here? They're just 460s in the lineup. Their best hitters, Jeff Jenkins, maybe Richie Sexson. There's not a lot of run-producing opportunities in this offense. The pitching is slightly better. Jeff D'Amico is a good, solid ace. Ben Sheets, not bad as a number 2. The bullpen gives you 3 guys at 77 or better, so there's something hopeful here about this bullpen, but again, how much damage can they really do? The fourth team in the Central are the Pittsburgh Pirates, and it's going to be some dark days for the Pirates. They got a great top 3 in Kendall, Vanderwall, and Giles. After that, it's just a whole bunch of yuck. They got 5 hitters in a row in the 60s, not a lot of run-creating opportunities. And if you thought the offense was bad, the pitching is even worse. There is not one guy in here who's even above average. No arms to go to in close and late situations. Just a disaster. The last team in the Central are the St. Louis Cardinals. One of the better offenses in the National League, headlined by Mark McGwire, but Jim Edmonds is a hell of a Robin to Mark McGwire's Batman. Will Clark, an 86 overall, really solid player. Langford and Tatis that far down the lineup is nice. Moving on to the pitching, Darryl Kyle and Matt Morris, a really nice 1-2. Not quite what the Dodgers have, but nothing to scoff at. The bullpen is definitely serviceable with Christensen and Veras. They should be certainly competitive. And with that, we make it to the National League East. We start with the Atlanta Braves. An above-average offense, I would say. Andrew Jones, Chipper Jones, and Andres Galarraga is a nice triple header there. Really deep all the way through. Even the back end is competitive at least. So Atlanta's figures to be a pretty good offense, but we know it's the late 90s, early 2000s. It's Atlanta's starting rotation. It's Maddox, Glavine, and Smoltz. Smoltz could be an ace on some teams. The bullpen is fine, good enough, but when you have these starters, Atlanta's ready to roll. Florida might have a long year ahead of them. Cliff Floyd is hardly the hitter that you are going to want to lean on for offensive production. Mike Redmond and Alex Gonzalez are the worst 8-9 in the league. They're just okay. Offense doesn't inspire a lot. Same with the starting rotation, just okay, probably even below average. The relievers are nothing to write home about outside of Dan Michelli. So Florida probably not going to have a fun year this year. And with that, we go north of the border to Montreal. And it's not looking too good north of the border, I'll tell you that much. Guerrero is a stud. Vidro is very good. But again, they're just going to struggle to string hits together in the back end of the lineup there with 460s in a row. The pitching is a little bit brighter. Tony Armas is a pretty good number one. And from the bullpen, Strickland and Urbina is not a bad duo coming out of the pen. So could be worse on the pitching side of things. They're probably above average, but the offense is going to hold this team back. That brings us to the New York Mets and their slightly above average offense. Mike Piazza is borderline elite. Edgardo Alfonso is a very good second baseman. The rest of the lineup is not elite, but they're deep. They're 70s all the way through. They should be able to move the base runners around. The pitching is very good. They have a couple of elite pieces with Rick White and even Armando Benitez edging on elite. Starting rotation is really solid. The Mets have one of the best pitching staffs in the league, and they should compete. And that brings us to the final team in the National League, the Philadelphia Phillies. Phillies look to be in for, unfortunately, a long season. Bobby Abreu and Scott Rowland are nice pieces, but outside that, the lineup crumbles real quick. That back three is atrocious. Again, there's going to be a lot of offensive opportunities that stall out. The pitching is equally as not exciting, I'll say. No elite pieces, a lot of 60s, just a lot of trouble brewing for Philadelphia in their future. So we wrap it up with a look from top to bottom. San Fran, the Mets, and Atlanta are your front runners here. St. Louis could make some noise. Chicago could make some noise with that pitching. But unfortunately, the blemishes on the teams at the bottom here might just be too much to bear.